Hi everybody, this is LoveVFX, and welcome to my LoveVFX course, in which I will talk about the creation of my fantasy short film Nøkken with Nuke Studio. You can find the link to my short film in the description of this video. In this lesson I will focus on the creation of sh280 and 330. This is the last lesson of the course. That is why I want to focus on some finishing touches that I added to sh280 and 330. sh280 is another shot in which we can see the point of view of the girl. In this moment, the creature Nøkken is realizing that he's in danger because of the mother who is looking for her daughter. That is why he's getting very aggressive and starts to scream at the mother. To make it easier for me to produce the last 3 creature shots for this short film, I decided to record locked off background plates for them. And then I just added some movement to the shots in Nuke. I think that worked out really well. Now let's take a look at the Nuke script of sh280. If you have watched lesson 8 of this course, this script should look quite familiar to you. In this script, I only want to focus on 2 sections. The noise that I added to the tongue, gums and teeth of the creature, and the breath of the creature that you can see when it's screaming. Let's start with the noise setup. If we take a look at the pre-mold node, right after the beauty rebuild setup of the creature, and toggle this color correction off and on that is responsible for the noise in this region, you can see that it makes the creature look less polished and more organic. Not by a lot if you look at the whole frame, but I think it worked out quite well. I created the mask for this color correction with the help of the creature's UV pass, which I have already talked about in lesson 8 of this course. First of all, I created noise patterns for the tongue, gums and teeth that I used as the source input for the STMap nodes. Then I used the RGB channels of the creature's UV pass as the STMap inputs and set the UV channels drop-down menus of these STMap nodes to RGB. After that, I modified these outputs, confined them to the areas of the tongue, gums and teeth, created new alphas out of these RGB outputs with keyer nodes, and combined these alpha channels with channel merge nodes. That is how I created the mask for this color correction. I think it helped to make this region of the creature look a bit dirtier, which was exactly what I was looking for. Having the ability to retexture your CG renders in Nuke this way can be a real lifesaver whenever you're facing a tight deadline and you don't have the time to re-render everything. The last thing I want to talk about in this script is the breath of the creature, which is not very prominent but strong enough to be visible. I added the breath of the creature at a very late stage in the production of the short film, and I even thought about creating a dynamic simulation for it. But then I saw my wife's garment steamer and thought, wait a minute, this could also work. And here is how I made it work. I took my C-stand and a big dark blue scarf and used it as a backdrop to record a plate of some steam from the garment steamer for the breath of my creature. Then I took this plate, retimed it to match it to the timing of the screaming creature, and created this modified breath plate out of it. I used stamps to create an instance out of this output, and if you haven't heard about stamps, you can check out lesson 6 of this course. Right under the motion blur node for the creature, I merged the breath over the creature with a mix value of 0.5, the help of a mask, an animated card 3D node, and a color correct node. I created the mask that I used for this merge node by using the object XYZ pass of the creature, apart from a few other nodes. But I have already talked about the object XYZ pass in lesson 8 of this course. I believe this shot helped to show the evil and potentially dangerous side of the Nøkken. It was certainly a lot of fun to work on this comp. And that was it for this shot. So let's take another look at it. This is the transformed plate. This is the comp. And this is the graded comp. Now let's take a look at the last shot of my short film, which is shot 330. In this final shot, we can see the mother's point of view when she discovers the Nøkken in the water. The reason why she looked so terrified in the previous shot is because the Nøkken has also tried to get her into his water world when she was just a young girl. This final shot is an homage to the drawing of the Nøkken, or the Nøkken, from 1904. which was created by a Norwegian artist called Theodor Kittelsen. I'll leave a link to that image in the description of this video. Now let's take a look at the last shot of this course. Just like in sh280, I only want to focus on two sections of the script: the water drops on the creature's head and the dirt layer on the water that I took from the background plate. I believe that these two setups served as nice final touches that helped me to integrate the creature into the environment. The whole setup for the water drops on the creature's head is based on a tutorial that I created a few years ago while I was working as a product designer for Nuke at Foundry. I'll leave a link to that tutorial in the description of this video. That tutorial will also show you how you can create this image sequence of raindrops. To get a masked part of this image sequence onto the creature's head, I used the same UV pass/STMap workflow that I have shown you in sh280 of this lesson and in lesson 8 of this course. Getting this output and this image that I used as a reflection map for the water drops was the necessary base for this effect. And as usual, I used stamps to create instances of these outputs. In the water drops backdrop, I used a modified alpha of the raindrops output and a cropped version of my reflection map that I combined with the background plate to create this effect with the PXF distort gizmo. It's similar to the iDistort node, but I prefer to use this tool. This gizmo is part of the Pixelfudger suite, which is really awesome. I'll leave a link to the Pixelfudger suite in the description of this video. What this gizmo does is distorting your image input with the alpha channel of your lens input. I used the modified raindrops output for the distortion effect, and I used another modified version of it as the alpha channel for the water drops. After adding a few more nodes to this output, as you can see here, I used it to color correct the creature's head, to create the shadow of the water drops, and then I merged the water drops over the creature's head with a mix value of 0.56. And by the way, you can display the values of your node's knobs on your nodes by going to the Node tab and writing a small TCL command. You have to put that command in square brackets, which is value, space, and then you need to type the name of the knob you want to display. If I change mix to operation, you can see that it changes to over, which is the current operation of the merge node. I really like to use this TCL command because it can give you a better overview of your script. And that was it for the water drops effect. Now let's take a look at how I added the dirt layer from the background plate to the comp. I took the denoised and retouched background plate, transformed it, distorted it, color corrected it, masked it, and merged it over the comp with another mask, just to get this layer of dirt on the surface of the water and make it look a bit more like the original background plate. I think that the cool part about this setup is that I used the simulated water from the image sequence of the creature to drive the distortion of the dirt layer with the PXF distort gizmo. I got the alpha channel for the lens input of the PXF distort gizmo with the help of the W supernormal gizmo, which I have talked about in lesson 8 of this course. I think this dirt layer helped to add a nice finishing touch to the whole comp. So let's take another look at it. This is the transformed plate. This is the comp. And this is the graded comp. And that was it for this course. I really hope you enjoyed watching it. Feel free to post any questions you have about my work in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer all of your questions. If you want to see more of these videos, don't forget to subscribe. Again, this is LoveVFX. Thank you for watching, and goodbye everybody.